Rapper Kodak Black from Pembroke Pines is under arrest again, this time on 7 felony counts.
Judge told him there would be no more second chances.
The judge made him answer that question, and he said that he was there.
So Octave for Kodak Black is not going anywhere.
What's good, RIZZLE fam? Now, if y'all know anything about Kodak Black, you know that he has a history of getting himself into some legal trouble. Run-ins with the law aren't anything new to the dude. That being said, he might have found himself in more trouble than he has in a long time. He's been accused of trafficking and was recently picked up by a trooper on the highway. He's not facing any crazy serious time, but still, things aren't really looking great for him. Let's go ahead and go through the previous history, plus the new charges he's facing, and what he has to say about all of it. Kodak caught his first charge as a little kid all the way back in middle school. He was born Dieuson Octave back in 1997. Later on, he would change his name officially to Bill Kahan Kapri. He grew up at Golden Acres, a housing project in Pompano Beach. He grew up getting into fistfights and pulling breaking and entering heists with his friends. When Kodak was just 12, he founded a group called Brutal Youngnz with some friends going by the stage name J Black. When he got a little older, he stole a car for the first time. He was only 16. After that, he ended up going to juvie 3 times in the same year, at which point he decided he needed to go straight and focus on his rap career. In 2013, he dropped his very first mixtape called Project Baby. He went on to release a mixtape every year until 2015. In 2014, he dropped Heart of the Projects, and in 2015, he went on to put out Institution. This is around the same time Kodak blew up when Drake posted a video of himself dancing to the track Skirt. That served to boost Kodak's signal. That very same month, he signed to Atlantic, and the rest is history. 2015 is also the first year he'd be hit with a major charge as an adult. In October of 2015, Kodak had a hunch that someone had broken into his home in Broward County. As a result, he forced a woman and a minor into his car to go check it with him. Police caught up with him after suspecting him of a robbery. While they had him in custody and they were running his plates, they realized that Kodak realized he was in possession of a little bit of smoke and that his license was expired. As a result of the whole thing, Kodak was initially booked on charges of robbery with no firearm or weapon, touch or strike battery, false imprisonment of a child under 13 years of age, false imprisonment of adult, and driving with his license that was expired as a first offense. He was released on bond pretty shortly after all that went down though. Now we flash forward 2 months when Kodak was yet again caught with a little bit of smoke on him, in addition to some paraphernalia. Then about 6 months later in 2016, Kodak was arrested again. He got hit with possession of a weapon by a convicted felon, yet more smoke, and fleeing from a police officer. According to reports, he was in the middle of a deal when police pulled up. He stepped on the gas and allegedly tried to ditch a weapon in a nearby dumpster, which was found pretty quickly. In the very next month, he was arrested for armed robbery and false imprisonment. He appeared in court for the charges, accompanied by executives from Atlantic. They told the judge that he had an exceptional future as a recording artist, and he also copped a plea deal. He got hit with house arrest for a year, 5 years of probation, community service, and anger management classes. He was allowed to tour. That's when police realized that he had 2 other major charges which hadn't been accounted for. Those were felony criminal sexual conduct and misdemeanor possession. As a result, Kodak had to stay and do the time. To make matters worse, shortly after this, Kodak was accused of something truly awful. A victim of Kodak alleged that after a show back in 2016, Kodak took her back to his hotel room where he took advantage of her. She later went on to report the incident to her school nurse, and Kodak was released from jail on this over a $100,000 bond on December 1st. In February 2017, he got picked up once again as a result of probation violation. This time though, there was no bond, and he had to miss concerts that he was scheduled for. Shortly after that, he was indicted by a grand jury for the earlier case about the show in 2016. His trial got postponed. He also had to show up in court to talk about how he had been behaving in his anger management class. According to the counselor running the class, Kodak was extremely disruptive, burping in class and distracting other people in the class. At one point, he took her phone and grabbed her by the wrist. He also violated his house arrest and ended up with another year of house arrest and 5 more years of probation. 2018 was probably Kodak's worst year yet, criminally. He was seen on an Instagram live video passing around weapons and blunts near a 3-year-old. He got hit with like 7 charges as a result of that video after the cops came and picked him up. He was even under investigation for a child neglect charge. 3 charges ended up getting dropped, and he pleaded not guilty to the other 2. He pleaded not guilty to the remaining charges and ended up with only 364 days in prison. And it only got worse from there. In April of 2019, Kodak was trying to get back to the US from Canada. That's when cops found Kodak to be in possession of something to smoke on again, and a Glock. He had to miss 2 different shows as a result. Just a few days after that, Kodak was touring for Dying to Live. Unfortunately for Kodak, the FBI decided to raid his tour bus while he was performing. They ended up picking up a few weapons and arresting some of Kodak's homies. The FBI tried to get into the club, but the owner wouldn't let him in. Kodak himself somehow managed to avoid trouble for this whole debacle. The next month, Kodak was arrested again, shortly before he was to perform at the Rollin' Loud Festival. It was also found that he had falsified legal forms earlier to get his hands on some weapons. He could be facing up to 10 years at this point, and prosecutors even attempted to make sure that his bond was revoked. They claimed that he was in danger to society at this point, thanks to the fact that he was a repeat offender, like over and over and over again. Seemed like this guy couldn't go more than a couple of months without finding himself in heaps of trouble. Kodak Black was facing some serious prison time at this point. That's when the absolute unthinkable happened, when President Donald Trump commuted the sentence for the 2020 arrest. Kodak then took a plea deal for the 2016 case, and the charges were switched to something lighter. He ended up with only 18 months on probation. In mid-2021, Kodak failed a P test, which violated his probation. He then had to go to rehab for 90 days. That now brings us up to Kodak's most recent run-in with the law. Kodak was driving around with some friends on the Florida highway when a state highway patrolman noticed that his windows appeared to be tinted above the legal limit. Once the cops were there, they pulled the old G-man, "I can smell that stuff from out here. I'm gonna have to search your car a bit." That's enough for the cops to have established probable cause, even though it's a pretty flimsy reason, man. From there, the police conducted a search of Kodak's bulletproof Dodge Durango. Inside, they found 31 oxycodone tablets. They also found $74,560 in cash. Kinda weird that it was $40 short, but okay. He was hit with a trafficking charge and a possession charge. Depending on how much Kodak had exactly, the sentencing can vary. For the possession charge, he can get hit with a maximum of 5 years. For the trafficking part, given the weight of the pills, he could get hit with somewhere around 3 years. That means that Kodak could reasonably get 8 years, but that's only if he was hit with the maximum sentences for each charge. Kodak's license and tags were also expired, but that's not really a huge deal in the grander scheme of things. He'll probably go to trial for the whole thing, although there's a loophole in Florida. If you didn't know it was in the vehicle and the car isn't yours, you can get off on the charges, provided you're able to convince the courts that they don't belong to you. That being said, that kind of defense probably ain't gonna stick for Kodak given his criminal history. As for now, he's actually gotten out of jail on bond yet again. It only cost him $75 grand. And as for now, he's in the clear. In fact, a reporter for NBC6 managed to get released from prison on video. Of course, fans on Twitter had jokes and opinions about the situation, both the arrest and Kodak's release from prison. One fan said, "Can someone take the video and add in the ZZ collab with Travis Scott?" Someone else said, "Keep him locked up." Another fan made a good point by saying, "I understand the pills being illegal to carry, but are you not allowed to carry a certain amount of cash on you? I get that a prosecutor worth their salt would equate that to selling narcotics, but can you be arrested for having too much cash on you?" The thing is, no, you can't. But if you also have pills, cops are going to be real quick to assume that all that money came from trafficking, and they're going to pocket all that cash and buy some new cruisers with it. Kodak's lawyer released a statement on Twitter professing that his client was innocent. He said, "Never judge a case based on an arrest. There's always additional facts and circumstances that give rise to the defense. Especially in this case. We'll get him a bond today and move forward with resolving the matter quickly." But what do y'all think about all this though? Are they about to let Kodak off easy? Is he gonna beat this case? Or given his rich history of criminal activity, are they about to make sure he's off the streets for a while? Let us know what you think down below in the comments. And if you dug what you heard in this video, be sure to check out this one next. And don't forget to keep it RIZZLE.